Mahabharata, Chapter 15, A Hall for Yudhishthira, read by Nirvan Bajaj and Ekveer Bajaj. Mahabharata, Chapter 15, A Hall for Yudhishthira. Vaishnampayan continued. The Pandavas, as prompted by Dhritarashtra and Bhishma, stayed at Indraprastha, O monarch, and in those days vanquished many rival kings. Then one fine day, Arjuna said to Krishna, "The days are warm. Let us go to the Yamuna with our friends and return in the evening." Thereupon, Krishna said, "That would please me too." Then, O monarch, Arjuna and Krishna, with Yudhishthira's permission, set out in the company of their friends. They reached the pretty verdant spot adjacent to a well-furnished rest house. While all regaled themselves as they chose to, Arjuna and Krishna proceeded to a delightful spot nearby and amused themselves with recollections of their heroic achievements. It was then when a certain Brahman came there. Beholding him, whose visage was resplendent like burnished gold, Arjuna and Krishna rose hastily from their seats, awaiting his commands. Then that Brahman said to them, "I am a Brahman whose hunger is not easily satisfied. I beg of you to give me my fill of food this once." Arjuna and Krishna replied, "O Brahman, tell us what food will give you contentment, and we shall strive to procure it." The Brahman said, "I do not partake of ordinary food. I am Agni. I need food that befits me." The god of fire continued, "The Khandav forest which I wish to consume is always guarded by Indra, because his friend Takshak, the Naga, and his clan live there, and Indra wields the thunderbolt. Beholding my leaping flames, he pours water down from the clouds. I am eager to consume the forest, but I am thwarted by the prowess of Indra. I now approach you who know all about weapons. Pray stop the torrents of rain. With your help I shall consume the forest. This is the meal I wish to have from you." Then Arjuna said to him, "I have with me many marvelous weapons to fight any number of wielders of thunderbolt, but I have no bow to match my strength and dexterity. Besides, I need an inexhaustible supply of arrows for the speed with which I shoot. My chariot cannot bear the weight of missiles I wish to store in it. I need a chariot potent like the sun, drawn by white, storm-swift steeds. And then there is no weapon with Krishna which matches his prowess. We are prepared to do all that many valor can, but you have to give us the tools to guard that vast forest from the torrents of Indra." Thus, addressed by Arjuna, Agni thought of Varun, the presiding deity of water and a guardian of the universe. And Varun, divining his thoughts, lost no time in appearing before Agni, who said to him, "Hasten and give me the bow, the ever-full quiver, and the chariot marked by its banner carrying the emblem of the ape, all given to you by the king Soma. Arjuna, with that Gandhiva bow will accomplish a great deed, and so will Krishna with the discus." Varun, O monarch, then gave the miraculous and unsaleable bow, which was as potent as thousands of bows, and was revered by the celestials. He also gave an inexhaustible quiver and a fully equipped chariot distinguished by its banner that had the emblem of the ape. Yoked to the chariot were steeds that were as white as spotless clouds. Then Arjuna, clad in armor and ready with a sword, ascended the chariot, and taking up that celestial bow called Gandhiva, wrought by Brahma in days gone by, Arjuna paid respect to Agni and then strung it. The rumble of the bow as it was wielded sent down a shiver of fear among those who heard it, and Arjuna, elated by the acquisition of the chariot, the bow and the quiver, became confident of helping Agni. And Agni gave to Krishna the discus which had a center as hard as agate, saying, This weapon will make you superior to men and celestials. Hurled by you, it will destroy the enemy and return. It was a fiery weapon, O monarch, the possession of which made Krishna equal to the task. And then Varun gave Krishna a mace by name, which when hurled spread like a thunderous roar. Then Arjuna and Krishna, full of excitement, said to Agni, O Lord, devour all sides of this forest as you deem fit. We are at hand to assist you. Agni then, when assured thus by Arjuna and Krishna, took on his flaming form. And Krishna and Arjuna, riding in their chariots, took position on either side of the forest. And Agni surrounded the Khandava forest and started consuming it. The water spots began to boil and the leaping flames rose up to the sky, striking fear into the hearts of the celestials. Then those in the realms above went to Indra and said,
O Lord, why is Agni burning up all those creatures? Is the world nearing its day of doom?
When Indra heard this and beheld for himself the event, O monarch, he covered the skies with multitudinous clouds, and those clouds, amassed and commanded by Indra, began raining down upon the Khandava forest in showers as thick as the axle rods of a chariot. But in the scorching heat of the fire, the cascades dried up in midair. And enraged Indra gathered more massive clouds for a heavier downpour. The encounter of the rushing water with the blaze filled the forest with smoke, and the flashes of lightning turned it terrible. But the countless arrows released by Arjuna, even as they set up a blockade against Indra's showers, closed the paths of escape for the living creatures below. While the forest was burning, O monarch, Takshaka, the friend of Indra, was not in there, but Ashwasena, the mighty son of Takshak, was there. And Indra, keen on saving his friend's son, raised a terrible storm, which laid Arjuna unconscious for a moment. Just at that moment, Ashwasena escaped. When Arjuna realized how potent the illusion had been, he cursed the sly snake as did Krishna and Agni, saying, None shall speak well of you. And Arjuna, piqued by the moment that he had been tricked, covered the skies with arrows and carried the fight straight to Indra. And Indra, O monarch, saw the determination of Arjuna and hurled his fierce weapons, covering the very firmament completely. Then there arose howling gales that stripped up the oceans and creature billowing clouds rich with moisture. And those clouds emitted thunder and lightning. Then Arjuna released the Vaya missile, investing it with the power of mantras to scatter those clouds. And in a moment the sky was cleared of clouds and darkness. The sun shone as appointed and a cool, delightful breeze began to blow. And Agni, without any obstacles in his path, joyfully blazed forth in flames of diverse shapes, permeating the earth with a raging roar. And Krishna roamed everywhere, like the deity of death, slaying the Pishachas and the Nagas with his discus, which always came back to his hand after killing countless creatures. Then Indra, riding his elephant, took up his unerring weapon, the thunderbolt. Beholding this, Yama with his deadly staff, Kubera his mace, Varun his noose, Skanda his long lance, Twashta his mountain, Surya his bright dart, and Mrityu, his battle axe, charged along with other celestials at Arjuna and Krishna to slay them. And the two consummate warriors confronted their assailants with their own arrows, no less deadly than the thunderbolt. The celestials were thwarted time and again till they retreated in fear and sought safety with Indra. Though Indra was pleased with the valor of the two, O monarch, he still gave them a fight. With his bare hands, he uprooted a massive peak of the Mandara mountain with all its trees and hurled it at Arjuna. But Arjuna's fire-spitting arrows smashed it to smithereens. O monarch, the fragments of that mountain as they came plunging down were like the sun and the moon and the planets falling down from their orbits. Then a voice deep and grave addressed itself to Indra and said, Your friend Takshak is not in there. Kandhav is fated to be burnt. Now Krishna and Arjuna to be invincible in battle. Therefore, it is proper that you turn back with your retinue. Then the celestials, beholding Indra retracing his step, followed him with their soldiers to the accompaniment of the triumph Leonian roar of Krishna and Arjuna. It was then that Krishna perceived an Asura, Maya by name, making his escape from Takasha's abode. Agni in his corporeal form followed intent on consuming the Asura. Krishna stood ready with his discus to slay him. Seeing the raised discus and the pursuing Agni, Maya cried,
Arjun, come quick and save me.
Arjun heard his frightened voice and said, Fear not. And Maya was not harmed by Krishna or devoured by Agni because he was granted heaven by Arjun. And O monarch, Agni consumed the Khanda forest for a whole fortnight free from the fear of Indra and secure under the might of Arjuna and Krishna. Then Indra descended to earth with all his retinue and said to Arjuna and Krishna, I am pleased with you who have accomplished a deed hard for even the celestials. Ask for a boon seldom granted to men. Arjuna asked them for various marvelous weapons, and Indra appointed the time for giving them, saying, In times to come, when Mahadev's grace falls on you, then shall I give you all my weapons. Then Krishna, O monarch, asked that his friendship with Arjuna be eternal. Indra granted him that boon, and then, after speaking to Agni, returned to his heavenly abode with his companions. And Agni said to Arjuna and Krishna, I have been served well by both of you. Now you may go wherever you choose. Arjuna, Krishna and Maya proceeded towards the banks of the river and sat down. Then Maya, in all humility, said to Arjuna,
You saved me from the anger of Krishna and the flames of Agni. Is there anything I can do for you?
Arjuna replied, This offer of yours is reward enough for me. Remain as considerate to us as we are to you. Maya said,
Your words are worthy of one noble like you, yet I would like to do something special for you. I am an architect. I wish to be of some service to you.
Arjuna replied, As long as you think you owe your life to me, I cannot accept any service from you. Neither do I want to disappoint you. Therefore, do something for Krishna, and that will be enough service for me. Then, urged by Maya, Krishna thought for a while on the assignment to be given. And then he said, Keen as you seem to be, you may build a hall for Yudhishthira. Make it a mansion men will marvel at. Make it unique. Let the best designs known to the Devas, Asuras and mankind be seen in it. Then Krishna and Arjuna narrated everything to Yudhishthira and led Maya to him. And Maya was received by him with all the honors due. Krishna stayed with the Pandavas in Khandavaprastha for some time and then took leave of them to go and visit his father. Then Maya came to Arjuna and said,
With your permission, I am now going to the Kailash mountain, where in days gone by I have stored many rare and precious materials. If they are still there, I will come back with them to build the great palace of the Pandavas. And I will bring many special gifts.
And proceeding to the Kailash mountain, Maya returned with the special gifts and the precious materials. He gave a priceless mace to Bhima and to Arjuna the conch shell, the sound of which would send shivers down the world. And then he started building the inimitable palace with columns of golden walls encrusted with precious stones and which occupied an area of 5,000 square cubits. Within the palace grounds, Maya designed a pond, the banks of which were set in marble slabs decorated with pearls. A flight of crystal steps led one from the banks to the river, which was transparently clear. He placed in the water lotuses made of dark, huge gems with stalks of bright jewels, and fish and water birds and tortoises. In magnificence, the huge palace with its bejeweled archways and profusely decorated walls surpassed the mansion of Brahma himself. there were 8,000 Rakshasas called Kinkaras to guard and preserve the palace. Maya completed this work in 14th months and informed Yudhishthira of it. Then did Yudhishthira make a ceremonial entry and along with his brothers live a happy life like Indra in his heavenly abode. Then one day while the Pandavas were in assembly in the palace, there came the great sage Narad, whose wisdom knew no bounds and whose knowledge spanned the ages gone by. And he said to Yudhishthira, a king who conscientiously preserves the order of hierarchy and discharges his duty will lead a happy life and will enter the domain of Indra thereafter. When your father knew that I was visiting the earth, he said to me, O Rishi, you must tell Yudhishthira that he, with the help of his brothers, can conquer the world, and then let him embark upon the grand Rajasuya Yajna. O son of Pandu, do the bidding of your father. Narada then proceeded to the city of Krishna, O monarch, and Yudhishthira became careworn in his thoughts about the Rajasuya Yajna. He summoned his counsellors and in the presence of Ved Vyas and other rishis sought their views on the Rajasuya. They replied, you are eminently qualified to perform the Yajna, and we are here at your command.
Therefore, king, let your plans be made forthwith for the sacrificial undertaking.
Yudhishthira said, it is an emperor who is worthy of this yajna. Yet, I have been thinking of it. Will this thought of mine come to fruition? The rishis replied, as one who treads the path of righteousness, you, O king, are qualified to perform the yajna. O monarch, though his brothers and counsellors concurred with the rishis, Yudhishthira contemplated on his strength and weaknesses, on his resources and requirements. He knew that the wise who did everything after deliberation would have no cause for regrets. Deciding that his judgment was inadequate in the matter, Yudhishthira thought of Krishna as the worthy counsellor. He knew that Krishna was the all-knowing, all-accomplishing and all-containing personality. He sent a speedy messenger in a chariot to the preceptor of the world. And that messenger, O monarch, approached Krishna at Dwarka, where he was residing. And thus ends the 15th session of our rendering of Vaishampayan's narration of Vyasa's immortal Ityasa, the Mahabharata. Stay tuned for the next chapter, Mahabharata chapter 16, and it is called The Pandavas Conquered the World. Please subscribe to this channel, like, share and comment on this video. Thank you.